Talking Tottenham, a fantasyfocus.com production.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 164 of Talking Tottenham. Bucky, joined as always by Daniel Shakes. This episode is brought to you by none other than the fine folks at Manscaped. We got the Euros back. The Euros have been amazing, Shakes. How you been doing through these Euros?
They're fantastic, Bucks. Whenever there's not a day with Euros, I don't know what to do with my life. I guess I have to do work and stuff and try to pass the time that way, spend time with my family.
Well, I'll tell you what I do during these Euros. I use the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. I make sure I'm trim. Everything's looking good down below. You could also use it on your armpits. And it's also a very good piece to make sure that you don't end up down below the belt looking like Chowdhury. Okay, you're going to be nice, clean, crisp, compact. And you can go ahead and clean up your midsection with Manscaped, proud sponsors of Talking Tottenham podcast. Be a proper lad this tournament. Shave your bits with the best and global leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you that is 20% off. Free worldwide shipping with code KOIS20 at manscaped.com. That is KOIS20 at manscaped.com. I've had nothing but great results with the Lawnmower 4.0. So give our folks at Manscaped a look there. Use the code KOIS20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. By doing them a favor, you're doing us a favor. So folks out there, if you need a trim, get over to Manscaped. Danny Shakes, we got a manager.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% positive. I've seen enough tweets with just basically pieced together different remixes of the same videos we've watched for many of the signings at manager over the years, all except for Jose Mourinho, who said, I win all the shit. I've won everything there is to win, and I am humble. So it was nice. It was kind of nice relief to see a guy who seemed like he had his head on his shoulders when it comes to it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Nuno? Because I saw the fan base kind of split. There's a lot of negativity, but for our followers, our listeners, when we posted about let's back him, I feel like a lot of people all jumped on board that train. So where do you stand with the Nuno appointment?
I'm cautiously optimistic, Bucks. If it's just funny how what a year does. If Nuno went from Wolves after finishing back-to-back 7th place, they just come back up from the championship, go right into the Prem and go 7th, followed by another 7th with even more points. If you got him then right after Poch left, let's say, just somehow for whatever reason he left mid-season, that would never happen. But I'm just saying you'd be fired up. You'd be like, all right, we got the up-and-coming manager. He did have to sort some things out while at Porto and while at Valencia, as far as I don't want to call them failings over there, but he found a home at Wolves. Immediately, they are extremely competitive, jumping right up from the championship. So if this was a year ago, everyone would think this is a hot name and this is the guy you want. A year goes by, Wolves have the season from hell, and I'm sure that's why there's a little bit more apathy behind it. But I'm just going to focus on that prior year, Bucks, and be optimistic. I mean, shit, if this hiring happened right after Jose got fired, so then I look at nice, humble Nuno versus, jerk Jose, I would be probably more excited. But I think just after this exhausting manager search, maybe I'm more relieved than anything. Just feels like we can kind of move this thing forward, and he's, whatever. It seems like he's a good manager, and that's fine. I'm just ready to go forward now, though, Bucks. Is that weird? I feel like no. I'm not thinking much about the manager anymore. Now I'm already going into the player transfers.
So I went to sleep last night for the first time in forever, just thinking about transfers, thinking about how the season's going to shape out, and not thinking I'm just wallowing in despair. I'm waiting on something that will never arrive. And when it does arrive, I will be disappointed. It was nice to just go to sleep, have a full night's sleep. And I woke up refreshed today. I think if you asked any of the people I work with, whether or not I was a little pep in my step today, from the jump, 7:30 a.m., just firing emails with a little chipper look on my face. I think you nailed it with the Nuno. It's Nuno, not Nuno, I believe. So
we're going Nuno. Is that why we're drinking
High Nunos?
High Nunos.
switching it up for the folks out there, for our fine and lovely manager. Fantastic beard. I'm not sure that he would enjoy the high Nuno, but we sure as hell will in his honor.
I just cracked a black cherry high Nuno open.
Yeah, I got the grapefruit here.
That one's good.
I was just relieved. I was absolutely relieved to have a manager, and I think he nailed it when it comes to, if this would have been before Jose, or let's say we part ways with Jose after the weird COVID season, picking up Nuno at that point would have felt like, wow, we have a way forward now. We're not just stuck with a guy who seemingly didn't fit in with upper management, with the players, with his mentality. Who knows about the coaching staff? There was just something amiss. We all felt it. We had a little string of good games there. First of the table for a month. Doesn't matter. Getting him out and bringing in Nuno just, 8 months ago at this point? 9 months ago, 10 months ago, whatever it is. I can't count. I'm too excited. That would have been a dynamic shift in the way that we approach Tottenham. It just felt weird going into last season. Nuno excites me because two of my good buddies are pretty much huge Wolves supporters. And I've watched so many Wolves matches with them. I got to say, the 3-5-2, for the way we're currently structured as far as a unit on the defensive end, it's going to kill you. But I think the 3-5-2 that Nuno was leading on at Wolves might be a little recipe at the beginning of the season before we feel out the defensive players. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, going right into fit, he likes that 3-4-3, the 3-5-2. You know, before he did play 4-3-3 and 4-2-3-1 at Valencia and Porto. Not sure if it worries you, Bucks. We do have another Portuguese manager that did coach at Porto. And I think he actually played for Porto while Jose was the manager.
He did. He was the backup keeper.
Yep. So here we are. But I think you're right. I mean, like if he's trying to feel things out and shit, the season starts in less than 50 days away, and we don't even have a single transfer in or out yet. So it's just going to be probably crazy town all of mid to late July going into August, as far as like him trying to get everything in order. So he'll probably go back to his creature of comfort, which is a 3-4-3. And I guess it's like, if he wanted it to be 3-4-3, where it's interesting is it could easily turn into a back five real quick. And that could make it far more defensive. Usually though, 3-4-3, you kind of think firing forward, with the wing backs, and it's more offensive. Spurs got a tough start, man, with Man City coming to town, a couple other matches. So I think he will go to that at first. I don't know if he finishes the season with that formation. This, though, seems to completely depend on the center back transfers, right? I mean, otherwise, if you're talking to 3-4-3 with Nuno, maybe it's Davis on the left side, Tanganga on the right side, Toby in between them, if you're not seeing Dyer and Dave on the team in a couple months or weeks. So it really depends on the transfers, man. But I wouldn't be shocked, you're right, if he did go to a 3-4-3 just because that's what he knows and he's going to have limited time to prepare.
I think we fit better with a 3-5-2 than we do with the 3-4-3.
I agree.
That's why I said 3-5-2, but 3 at the back I think makes the most sense. Depends who we bring in. If we bring in a stud center back, we bring in a right back, we might have a chance. This might give renewed life to Doherty, but we have a listener question.
Yeah, I don't.
So we'll get there. I like to look at Nuno, though, a little bit more in terms of his history. So Rio Ave, he was there in Portugal, I believe, for 4 seasons, actually led them to their first ever Europa League, I believe. Yeah. So shows me he could build there, getting a team to ascend to a different level. There's going to be a little theme here. Valencia, he leads them to the Champions League, 4th place finish. They kind of stall out early the next season, the second year of his deal, and he decides to resign in November at that point. Probably some pressure involved there, but the fact is, La Liga, for Christ's sake, that was a goal-scoring team he had with Valencia there in La Liga. If you look at the record, you see the same thing at Porto, the very next season there. At Porto, sacked after a year where he finished second did not come away with any silverware. You know, it's a two to three team league there in Portugal, and Porto is always expected to come out on top. But that was an exciting team based on the breakout, especially in their goal differential. I want to say it was around like 55 or 60 for the season or his time there. So this is a guy who's built things, then moves to Wolves, who are at a lower level, championship, wins the damn thing. So I think his methods are working, and that inspires me, Shakes. I think his methods can take a team, and when I look at those teams, I don't think there was very heavy investment on any front. Kind of makes sense now that we look at it. Am I disappointed that it's not Graham Potter? Yes. But if it wasn't going to be my boy GP, are you with me? I'd like it to be my guy, Hi Nuno.
So that's a good point, Bucks. And I had a game of like, would you have rather taken Potter or him or ETH or him? And just I would have gone down the line. And what I kind of realized is I could have talked myself into Nuno pretty much against any of those guys, especially if you throw out the prior year where, you know, Jimenez had like the most horrific injury you could have. And then they sold Jota to Liverpool, and just that team was just kind of, and Traore, I thought, took a step back. So they just had this team that really.
What do you mean? Yeah. He died off a cliff.
It's ridiculous. I mean, this guy was being talked 100 million transfer to Man U a year and a half ago. Now I don't know, but you know, I guess they're going to spend all that on Sancho. But I just think like for sure he's going to have the most talented team that he's ever coached. So if you think he's getting the best out of his guys and he's building some things, granted, it doesn't seem like he stays anywhere too long, then we got to be optimistic.
4 seasons at Wolves?
4 seasons, but 2 of them were in the championship, right? Or 3?
No,
I guess I'm not counting like the
1 year in the championship.
3 in the Prem, I meant to say.
3 in the Prem, yep.
But yeah, it's tough to not throw out the last year for him. And when you throw out that last year, you feel a lot more excited. I'm just convinced. And he just had the talent kind of not go his way. You know, it did not get better for him at all. Like between Traore, Jota, and Jimenez not being really what they were or gone off the team last year.
I'm going to take last year and just throw it away. For us, for Wolves.
Then everyone should be excited. Then that's the way you got to look at it. Do you worry, though, that as you look at the pictures, if you're doing the research, his beard has gotten far more unkempt? Like it was very clean shaven at Valencia, got a little bit more at Porto. Then by Wolves, it was just kind of out of control. We are sponsored by Manscaped, by the way. Does he need a lawnmower 4.0?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt him at all. But I happen to like the Grizzly.
Really?
Grizzly
See,
look.
I want.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on this.
His beard has only got more gnarly.
Before you had heard the whispers about Nuno, how old did you think Nuno was when he was manning the touchline at Wolves?
Over 55 for sure.
I thought he was like 62. He's 47 years old.
He looks so much older.
This guy's 13 years older than me. Like, look at my dumb baby face, man.
Well, I mean, it's the beard, it's the grayness. It would be interesting if he like came in and he was just like super slim down and then just had no beard. Like if he shaved the beard, is he like selling all business, or is this his source of his powers?
He looks slim in the photo shoots.
He did
looked slimmer than he did at Wolves. It's like he's been on a jet ski.
Great smile.
He's fantastic.
I mean,
I like the words.
Man.
I like he actually is a very handsome man. Yeah. Dashing smile on him. Reminds me of a man.
Well, we got the more handsome Portuguese manager now, at least. We got that. It's
Jose was pretty handsome Portuguese manager.
What hurts him, unfortunately, is no fault of himself. It's I don't even want to say it's Paratici's fault. It's the brass up top, probably led by Levy, having just the most ridiculous circus-like search for a manager, to where then it just finally kind of seemed like it spun around in circles until we just landed on Nuno Espirito Santo. So did it almost feel anticlimactic, Bucks? It's like, oh, and this guy's also here, and yeah, we're just going to sign him after 17 other manager rumors fell through. But looking back
anticlimactic? Like
in a way where
anti-climate or anticlimactic.
Climactic. I can't speak
There
right
it
now
is.
with all the four roses. Slurring the tongue doesn't
I
get
was
off
like,
the roof
yeah,
of my mouth the way it should.
I don't think the
It's not a
seasons or the
climate
weather
change
was
question,
changing.
Bucks.
Yeah, okay.
It's did the rug get kind of pulled off from the excitement? I don't know.
No, in fact, like I said, I slept for the first time in 72
This is
days
more
last
relieving
night.
for you.
Yeah, I needed this. I really fucking needed it.
But looking back, you'd take him over Fonseca.
Yes.
You wouldn't take him over Conte. You know, you'd think we are all
No.
business and we're going to spend for Conte. But
you know where I'm at. I want Prem experience. So the fact that we got a guy in with 3 years Prem experience, finishing 7th with a team that most folks had pegged that first year out.
Yeah.
To finish and either get relegated or finish.
Payroll is half Spurs minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't looked at it. I'm just going to assume.
I would say minimum's probably pretty fair. Yeah.
Right. If that's the case, Bucks, let's get excited. It's the thing is when you get a manager that was in the Prem and you were playing against them just last year before that, don't you find yourselves comparing his players that went against Spurs to like now who Spurs would be for him? Like, okay, Højbjerg is going to plug into the Neves role, or okay, and Ndombele, does he go more forward? How does he fit in the 3-4-3? I mean, that's immediately where my mind went to after the transfers. It's just, how is this guy going to evaluate the personnel? Like, is he going to think, Reggie could be the better Doherty, so to speak? But I find myself doing that now, like taking a look at who his guys were and now applying them to Spurs.
I think it's two different things. I think there's the short-term plan and the long-term plan. I think short-term, he's going to go with what he knows. Because as a manager stepping into a position, I feel like it's easiest to take your principles, figure out the chessboard in front of you, who's where, who fits in best in terms of interpretation on the initial look at the squad. But then through training, but then through the first 5 or 6 matches, figuring out what's working, what's not working. Did we end up making a couple of crucial transfers in, a couple of crucial transfers out? We know who we're talking about, Harry Kane being the main one. But I will say, I think that the way that they emphasize Jota and Jimenez has to captivate Heung-min Son and Harry Kane.
For sure.
Because they're a team that likes to play from the wings, cut through the middle, and find little pockets and blast shots on net. Now, did they make an awful lot of them last season? No. Did they make an awful lot of them that we're talking Wolves here 2 seasons ago? No. They averaged just under 70 goals from the championship season. So Nuno's tenure.
Anticlimactic.
Thank you. Yeah. And that was anticlimactic right there, what I just pulled. Can't believe I called you out on that. What a dick.
You are.
I know. I'm a bully, according to you.
And EJ and half our listeners. It's okay.
Sometimes I got to rough you up a bit, Shakes. Keep you in check.
Bring me down to earth. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, you got the checkbook. I got the fists.
Do you think he's going to look at players differently? Like, Steve, let's try you at wing back.
I hope so.
Do you think ideas like that will come to his head?
Yeah, but I also think he's going to rely on Doherty if we don't get rid of him. And with Nuno coming in, I don't think that's a possibility now.
Spurs have a lot of those players like Lo Celso and Ndombele. I think of Lo Celso as like a left-sided 4-3-3 midfielder. And Ndombele, I don't know where to put him. Dele, for instance, like it seems like if you're playing a 4-2-3-1, he's got to be the middle guy in the 3. Steve just appears to be a right winger. I don't know. There just seems to be a lot of players, maybe even Lucas Moura if he's still on the team, or Eric Lamela. Seems like there's a lot of players where I kind of wonder how they're going to all fit into his system. Some are more obvious than others, but the Ndombele, GLC, Dele part, that's interesting to me because it all depends, I guess, how defensive. And what was I thought interesting is Levy talked about getting back to Spurs DNA. I feel like I've read Spurs DNA 1,000 times, Bucks, on Twitter and everywhere on the internet. And he talked about the interviews. Ball, in the interviews. And even when he announced Nuno, he's just like, yeah, we're going to get back to our DNA and, free-flowing attacking ball. And it's like, well, really Nuno wasn't 100% known for that. Sure, in the championship, they scored a bunch of goals, but once it got into big boy ball, they kind of averaged right around the middle, if not a little bit below. And it kind of relied
right around
on
60.
Yeah. And it relied on service to Jimenez, really, and Jota kind of streaking in, cutting in on the left side if Traore was out wide on the right. So I'm not. Hopefully Levy's just not going to be fooled here, because I don't think that's what he hired. Maybe he's just saying that to make it known that's what he wants out of it, but hopefully that's not the case either, because then it sounds like now Levy's got a different mindset for maybe the way Nuno might want to manage the squad, at least starting out with the players that we have.
I don't think that Nuno is cemented on one type of playing style. I think not. A lot of it. No, I don't think he is at all, man. I really don't. I mean,
he says he wants to fit his players, the scheme to his players, which is what you want to hear. Yeah.
Right.
It's just, I don't want Levy trying to sell us a bag of goods like this guy is, high press all day long. It's not the case.
But this is only his 10th year managing. Right. So in 10 years, he took a team to their first Europa League. He took Valencia to the Champions League. He then moves on to Porto. They qualify for Champions League. He takes Wolves. He promotes them from Championship. Yeah, I understand what you're saying about Porto, but the facts are facts, Shakes. He did what I said he did.
This is true. However, it might be less impressive than the way you presented it.
It might have been a little bit less impressive, but impressive nonetheless. And then you also had the fact that he took Wolves. They win the championship. We know how difficult that is. He did it with 4 matches left, sealed the deal. So he ran away with it, Shakes. That makes me happy. That makes me a happy guy. Everything good on your end?
No, my baby is crying. You're going to have to talk for a little bit.
That's fine. I will talk. But what it boils down for me is I see a guy in Nuno, as Shakes has to step away, folks. I see a guy with Nuno that truly cares. Just the way that he spoke to the cameras, and it might have all been for show. I don't really know. I really don't care. But I actually saw that he was genuine. It seemed like he was speaking from his experience. He was speaking from his heart. And this was a fella that believes he can turn Tottenham into a winner, into a team that believes. And what I took away from it is he wants everyone to buy in, not just the players, not just the coaching staff, but any person involved in the organization to buy in. Let's shake the stigma. Let's get rid of Spursy. Let's figure out what works well, and let's emphasize those strengths. If Spurs can't emphasize the strength that we have, and you look at us from top to bottom, we are filled with holes. We're very top heavy. Our best players are some of the best in the world. Well, how do we make sure that we get the very best out of those players every single match? From my perspective, it's got to be a thing where Nuno comes in, fresh slate for every player. And that's what it seemed like just in a 2.5-minute interview, whatever it is. I'm sure we'll be hearing a hell of a lot more from him, as we go through training, as we step into the preseason. I'm looking forward to hearing the man speak. When you hear Nuno speak, I hear somebody I would like to have a beer with, or a high Nuno, which, by the way, this is an aside, but these high Nunos are pretty damn good. Usually a beer man, as you all know, but for the occasion, Danny Shakes and I did pull a run over to the grocery store to get these. I'm just excited about it. I'm excited that we have a path forward. Whatever that path forward is, it could be rugged. It could be a little bit of a zigzag down the road, a bendy road with some cliffs on the side. Who knows? We might fall off the cliff. If we happen to fall off the cliff, well, then we got to revisit things. But I heard enough from Nuno that we can make sure that we are marching forward with a focus, with an approach that matches our Tottenham DNA. We're playing free-flowing football. That's all I can ask for. I want to have fun. All of us want to have fun. Having fun with Spurs on a Saturday or Sunday morning is the greatest thing I have to look forward to every single week. And to be quite honest with you, dealing with the veiled drama bullshit of a manager like Jose, who truly only cared about himself. And you could tell when Jose was talking to the media here during Euros, Jose is sitting there on some sort of spot where he was sitting there just acting like a complete ass when it came to the fact that he knows what Harry Kane needs best, or he knows all the, you know what? In the end, you didn't get it done at Spurs. If you didn't get it done at Spurs, Jose, quit talking about Spurs like you know something about these players. The only thing you know is how to agitate and piss people off. But when it comes to Nuno and what I heard from him and I've been talking about Nuno's 2-minute and 50-second video for the last 6 minutes, Shakes, it's been riveting stuff. Shakes is on Mr. Mom duty tonight, aka Daddy Duties, girl dad.
Oh my gosh.
But
she's the only one that can stop the podcast, Bucks.
Yeah, he inspired me, man. Nuno inspired me. I'm pumped. I like the guy. I like his smile. So everything that he's doing, I really could care less. Let's just get the wins and let's have fun. If we have fun and we lose doing it and I'm satisfied with the performance, you know what? It might just be a transition period, and that's okay. But I have high hopes because I think he will adapt. I think we will be a powerhouse under Nuno, and we're all the way back. Little Tank is doing real sweet.
Little Tank does not want to go down, Bucks.
Yeah.
Now she wants to mash on the keyboard, so she just gets to wait it out with Dad and we get to talk Spurs together.
That works,
as it was
man.
meant
that
to
works.
be, Tank.
Yeah. You want to get into some listener questions here?
I would love to, Bucks.
All right. As long as Tank gets to answer.
She can't speak well, Bucks.
Not quite. I mean, I figured she was a Nobel laureate.
A cunning linguist.
Yeah, Nobel laureate for sure. All right, let's get this here from I Am Savino. Who will be the first player to leave in this window, Shakes?
Eric Lamela. Eric Lamela will go to Italy. Not sure what the dollars will be, or the pounds, or the euros. I just don't think it'll be like a crazy high number, Bucks. I just know he is getting looks from over there, and just that's where he came from. So he could wind up back over that way. He's my number one. I would say wouldn't be surprised to see Dave move on. I know he's getting looks from other folks. And after that, I mean, shoot, you've seen these Winks to Aston Villa rumors, and there's a couple other ones out there, but I'm going with Lamela. What about you?
I'll say Serge Aurier.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like agreement in principle with PSG, right?
Yeah. So if I had to go with something that's a bit more unknown,
yeah,
I'll go with Dave Sanchez. Dave, just because we're gonna have to sell one of the higher price younger guys.
We're gonna talk more transfers probably on future pods, but like, who would be your shock? I can't believe he did get transferred out guy.
Probably in Ndombele. There's too much unbridled skill there.
There's still that nightmare scenario for all of us, Levy included, of just him dominating on hopefully not a Prem team, but just anywhere else, whether in Spain or France. I would also
say, let's say it was like a Conte who came in. I would have said Sergio Reguilon would have been on the table as well.
He would have been for that. That would have been an interesting one. Yeah.
But with Nuno, I think this might get the best out of Reggie.
I think so. I mean, this seems tailor-made for Reggie for sure. I'd like to think Højbjerg like just thrives in any situation, but it seems like he'd be one of the anchored midfielders in a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. Lo Celso's an interesting one too, though, as far as the transfer out goes.
That wouldn't shock me. Can't stay healthy.
Well, it's just also maybe Nuno looks at it like between him and Ndombele, they're not the same player exactly, but at the same time, you're not playing them in completely different areas. So he might find it overlap where you can get some funds to spend. But again, I don't think Levy wants to just suddenly go back on these transfers that he made not too long ago.
See, I think you're falling back in the same problem that both Poch and Jose fell into by thinking GLC and Ndombele are similar players. I don't think they are at all. I think GLC has a proclivity to just gun, like keep gunning and find that cheeky pass right at the end. And Domblé is a little bit more mental with the way he plays, a little more slow, like not in a bad way, just more methodical with what he does. GLC, there ain't no method to his madness. When he's playing well, he's just guns blazing. So I think they're completely different. I think the hope for me is that Nuno can identify each one's strengths and put them in positions where they can both run free and do what they want. And so when you and I, it wasn't you and I, it was one of my employees. We were talking to a Spurs fan. Shout out Ty. And we were just talking about lineups and how we thought, we'd line up today as we were waiting on something that we were working on. And I had said that I think that Højbjerg and Domblé and Skip might be the mix if we're doing a 3-4. And then I also think that you could factor in a little GLC sprinkle in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think where GLC is probably I would say a little bit more versatile than Ndombele is you could play him far further up the pitch. I mean, if you had him in a 4-2-3-1 on the left side in the 3, or even a 3-4-3 top left side, you're not getting blazing speed, but I think you have someone that, back when he was at now it's going to escape me. Was it Real Betis? I can't remember.
Real Betis, yep.
Yeah. He was playing sometimes as a false 9. So it seems like he has.
That's my point, though.
He has that versatility. Yeah. And I don't know. It kind of depends on what you're looking at. If it's super duper speed on the right side, if you have Son, maybe it's fine if you have GLC on the left. I don't know what it does to them with Steve, but that's kind of how Spurs played when they had Eriksen further up the pitch. They knew they were sacrificing speed for his creativity.
Fair enough. I like that. All right. Well, who should leave this summer, in your opinion? Lamela is one.
Lamella's one. I really think Dave or Dyer just need to change the scenery for themselves personally.
I'd prefer to sell Dyer.
I do too. I just want Dave to be better, and it's just never working out. I could see both of them going. Lucas Moura will be on the team. Sometimes I always feel like I read like a transfer rumor with him just because he'd be a good utility player anywhere that he goes.
Great for us. I want him to be our number one.
Yeah, no, he'll stay on the team. He'll be on the team. It pains me to say Winks. I want Winks to stay.
I don't. I want Winks gone.
You want Winks gone? You don't worry about the English numbers and him, being an academy player and all that. But maybe that's me not being pragmatic. I got to learn that you got to cut ties every once in a while.
You do. I want Winks gone. I want Dyer gone. I'd like to see us bring in a keeper, but obviously I want Hugo in net this season. I do want to see Lo Celso go.
You do?
Yeah, I do. And then that's pretty much it. That's not enough. We need to offload more.
Well, it boils down to the big question of just after Euros, where's Harry Kane? And then that then answers the question of how much money do Spurs have to spend. Correct.
And then we will wrap Savino's questions here with one that's near and dear to my heart. When Sissoko goes, how will you commemorate his time with Spurs? I also think Sissoko needs to go this offseason, sadly enough. When he goes, how will I commemorate it? This is quite simple. It's been thoroughly thought through. I've done a few songs praising Moussa Sissoko. There will be a third song, the end of the trilogy. It will be a Leanne Rimes, How Will I Live Without You cover that I'll draw up a little ditty for it with all the highs, some of the lows, because that's any relationship. You're not always flying towards the sun. Sometimes you're crashing back down to earth and blasting volleys 16 feet over the bar like Musa.
I didn't want to say his name when you asked me about transfers out, just because I want to hurt your feelings. I knew this question was coming, but it does feel like an appropriate time. It really does. The question is, how much does Levy value him? Because I heard some talks had already stalled with other clubs because the valuation didn't make sense at all. And everyone and their mother knows Spurs have like a log jam at midfield with Skip coming back, Lo Celso, Højbjerg, and Ndombele. So that's the thing. You got to like turn some sort of money off of this Bucks. I hate to make it that like, non-human that way.
Does Sissoko get us 10 mil?
I mean, I would love that. And
I would say
I feel bad that I talk about it that way. Like it's just a $10 million chip coming Spurs way, but because he was huge for Spurs a couple years ago, and his influence has kind of waned though a little bit, and it's because he's trying to coach up the younger guys. Like I think Ndombele is a better player because of Sissoko, don't you?
I do. Question about Sissoko.
Yes.
Do you feel that Sissoko drills that PK that Mbappe missed?
Could you? I was so worried for you and your sanity if Sissoko came up at like the 4th spot for France, but I guess no, he didn't get the nod.
I was texting y'all the entire time, like, please, dear God, not Sissoko. Please, dear God, not Sissoko. I can't live with this. If it's him, if he is going to be the root of all evil for the nation of France.
What almost happened, though, is Mbappe makes that, and Sissoko might have been the 6th taker in sudden death.
Probably would have.
So it was coming. If Mbappe made it, it might have been 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere out of 11.
Miss, though. I knew it the minute I saw him step up.
I was like, that reminded me of?
He should have been the first one. Why would they leave him for the last PK?
Well, you usually put your best PK taker first to make sure that you get on the board and sets the tone, right? And that's why Pogba went like 3rd. Was it Benzema was out of the game by then, right? Was it Giroud then that took it?
I want to say Giroud. I don't remember, but all I remember is here's this guy who's had a horrible Euros. The whole team has had a pretty bad Euro. And you're going to send up the guy who missed 3 sitters.
I know.
To go up there and try to clinch this, get it to the 6th kick.
That might have been why he was 5th. They were just hoping it didn't get to that. They already had it won. You know what it reminded me of, Bucks? I didn't have confidence that Mason Mount was going to hit that 5th PK against Spurs and Carabao Bang Energy. I had flashbacks to that. It's like, here comes their best player. And just for whatever reason, I was just like, oh man, suddenly it's just like he's 5th and it's all on him to keep this thing going. And he just cranks it off the post.
Well, anyways, Savino, you will get a Leanne Rhymes. How do I live? Remix. Because I don't know how I'm going to persevere after that, but we're going to work with it. We got one here from Alex Asher. Lots of comments about Nuno's contract lining up with Poch's PSG expiration. Coincidence, Shakes? What
was the question?
The question
was my daughter.
There's a lot of I know you're holding your daughter. How does that affect your eardrums? Lots of comments about his contract, Nuno, lining up with Poch's PSG contract expiration. Is this a coincidence?
Yes, that's coincidence.
What did I say?
Got. No, I just misheard you, Bucks.
Okay.
It wasn't that you spoke incorrectly. The way I heard that was just incorrect.
We get a manager and all of a sudden we can't say words.
I know, man.
We're speechless.
I'm trying to play hurt here, though. I got baby Tank right here, just grabbing my beard. If only she could grab Nuno's beard.
The Poch vessel is sailed. Poch vessel is sailed.
Yeah, I think
Poch has nothing to do with Poch. We're gonna win titles underneath Nuno. So Alex, absolutely not. Yeah, maybe they line up, but when Spurs have 3 pieces of silverware by that time, we're not going to be wanting anything but Nuno on the touchline every single match.
What manager gets to the last year of their contract ever anyway? It doesn't work that way.
So I spoke about this during my soliloquy, Shakes, but this is from Alex Asher. He liked his interview, seems very humble, down-to-earth, hardworking guy, gives some vibes, but gives some vibes as a perfect yes man for Levy.
Ooh.
I mean, Levy is Levy. So if Levy is going to be the Levy that we all know and love, we saw that did not work well. Oil and water. Is it oil and water?
Oil and water. Oil and vinegar are very good together on a salad.
They're very good together. Nice little Italian seasoning in there.
You know what I've been in on? This Barcelona dressing. It's excellent.
Never had it.
It's oil vinegar base, but it's got a little bit of apple cider vinegar. It's got a little lemon juice mixed in, sunflower seed oil, oregano, and it all mixed together, Bucks. It's fantastic. You got to keep it refrigerated though, because of the lemon juice, and there's a couple other ingredients in there. But
you got to shake it up real good.
Oh my God, yeah. If you don't pour that thing after like half a second with shaking it, you got to start all over.
Oh yeah, because it congeals a little bit.
Oh yeah, it just completely separates.
Got to get it on the lettuce quick. All right, this one is from Brian Lozen. Are the comments about his lack of attacking tactics overblown in reference to Nuno? Yes and no. Yes and no, because even when he had the full-fledged attack presence of Jota, Jimenez, they still struggled for goals week over week. But a lot of that is the approach and the mentality of a club where they realize and recognize their deficiencies. They plan pragmatically around that. And am I a bit concerned about that? Yes. But we've already dealt with it with Jose. The later parts of Poch's tenure, it was the same thing. So it's almost like more of the same, but hopefully new mentality, new players, more funding, hopefully, than what he had at Wolves. I'm not too concerned, but I am a bit concerned. It's kind of I skirted around.
No, I understand it though, because and again, I go back to Levy at his presser talking about free flowing ball, and it's just like, whoa, man, we got to have better center backs. We got to have better defensive play, especially at right back. If you are going to want to kind of be more free flowing and offensive minded, got to have some horses behind you just in case they counter and go the other way, and you don't want these individual lapses to lead to the one game deciding goal. So I really think it's going to depend on the center backs that come in, and he's going to look at his situation. This is Nuno, and sure, maybe he does try playing a little more free flowing at beginning, Bucks, but if that doesn't work out, he's got to shut it down if the players aren't there to back him up. I mean, he's not just going to lose every game 5-2 just because Levy told him to. So it's really going to depend on the incoming transfers unless you see some dramatic improvement from the current center back play.
I feel like we could, though. We could see some dramatic improvement. One man, number 25, Japhet Tanganga, throw him in there.
It's your boy, the sack.
Hopefully the experiment of him being a right back is over.
I don't mind him as the right-sided center back, Bucks. It's just, we'll see. We're going to talk a lot about back three, I think, this season. I'm not a fan of it, but I understand why you need it. Best teams in the league, they play two center backs, but that's why they're the best teams in the league. Spurs are not. So we'll see what happens going forward. And I think it really just starts with these transfers. Who do you want coming in as the center back? I saw Skriniar might now be around for 40, 50. Who was the other? The Japanese player. What was that?
Stop saying that name, Skriniar. If I hear it one more goddamn time, I'm going to lose it.
You're going to lose it?
Skriniar is not happening. It will not happen for Spurs, so get over it. It's Tamayasu.
Some interest from Spurs there.
I like him, by the way. The sizzle reel that I watched of him was electrifying.
It's him heading away balls.
He's got both foot. He's good on both feet. Yeah. He's versatile. Center back. Can play some right back. Flex out there. Pretty good. So that leads us to our last question here from Ian Ferguson. Does this mean we'll finally get some production out of Matt Doherty, in your opinion?
It's going to be tough. Doherty, I was reading something that his side was used to like double the left side when he was on Wolves with Nuno. However, that's also the side Traore was on. So I do wonder if Traore kind of covered for maybe Doherty a little bit, where just if he's tracking back or if he's just the speed demon that you got to be wary of if you're the fullback on the other side or wingback on the other side. Maybe Doherty just wasn't seeing a lot of attacks going down his way just because they were so defensive. And maybe Nuno also knew that too. So now he's going to look at 29 going on 30-year-old Matt Doherty, who's out of form and just, unfortunately didn't play great for Spurs last year. And he'll kind of have a come to himself moment where he realizes Spurs got to move on in that position. But he could be a serviceable right back, as a substitute. Bucks.
I think at a wing back, it might shift things for him a bit in a positive
I think
way.
Doherty as a back four fullback is that
does not work.
Sailed. Yeah.
That
so sure, if you're playing wing backs and just you want Doherty there, great. Maybe plug him in every once in a while. If not, he's the backup that way. And Nuno can't think. I mean, he let him leave, right? I mean, that's the other part of it. No, don't. No, please stay. And he's let him go.
These table scraps, dog.
So obviously that he didn't think that highly of him at that. I mean, he probably thinks highly of him, but he wasn't, fighting tooth and nail to keep him.
Yeah, it was like a nice little porterhouse bone that had a little bit of nibble on the fillet side. You can nibble on that.
It's like when you throw a going away party for the guy in the office that everyone really wasn't too fired up, was leaving. So you're like, no, it's fine. Yeah, we'll throw this party for you. No, it'll be great. Sorry to see you go. It's like one of those.
What?
That's
how you treat people?
No, of course not.
Is that how you're treating me right now?
Bucks, I will not throw you a going away party. That means I like you more and think you're more valuable. You don't throw the going away party for the guy that you're pissed off leaves.
Really?
No, you're pissed off that guy left.
Wait a second. So when you're happy someone leaves, you throw
the party about it.
And you make them attend and eat their own shitty cake that you got at the Publix bakery for $13. That's unbelievable, Shakes. You vindictive bastard, man.
That's how it works.
No.
If you lost your best guy and they left to your competitor, you're not like, oh, let's throw a party about it. You're not.
I mean, I never throw parties for anybody that leaves. Do you fire people and then throw a party?
No, that doesn't happen. They just didn't hit their performance measures. Sorry, my daughter's acting up here, everyone.
No, you're actually having like your Jordan flu game right now because your points are. We'll wrap it up here. Thoughts on Takahiro Tamayasu? I like the guy. Apparently, there's a few teams on his trail. Atalanta is looking to sign him. I think for the price point, if that's around 17 to 20 mil is what I read. I think that's well within our price range, and I think that'd be a player that I'd like to see get in. So that wraps it on Spurs Talk. We got Nuno. We're pretty pumped. Quickly to Euros. We got 4 great matches coming up here. So I want you to give me your winners for these 4 matches here, Shakes. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Let's go for it.
Spain versus the Swiss.
I like Spain a lot, especially now that I've heard Xhaka is suspended on yellow card accumulation. So Spain might have found their form. They grew into this, and everyone talks about Petri being like the new 18-year-old Iniesta. So let's go with Spain there. I mean, there's that money line parlay sitting out there, Bucks, with Spain and England. And then if you want, you could throw in a Denmark. But I think Spain and England are the two that I might have already jumped the gun, that I think just they should take care of business.
Okay. So I got Spain winning 2-1.
Are you worried about Spain scoring? It seemed to be an issue during World Cup qualifying. It was more of an issue during group stage at the beginning. And then just randomly, they just woke up. Now they're just posting 5 goals every game. It won't work that way.
Not every time.
That Spain-Croatia game, though, was awesome. Might have been game of the tournament.
I agree there. Belgium-Italy, the big one.
It sounds like Hazard and KDB are both going to be out. And if that's the case, I got Italy. I think Italy could win 1-0. And they seem to be a team that was cruising. Then they got hit in the mouth a little bit in their first, round knockout game. And thankfully, they figured it out for their sake in extra time. But, I mean, it just seems like you're cutting a lot of teeth out of Belgium right now if you're going to get rid of those 2 guys, and it's Lukaku on an island with the other Hazard, who did score a sweet goal against Portugal, but
Thorgan?
Yeah, Thor Hazard. But I mean, Italy's midfield is just a monster.
Very good.
And they replaced those 3 guys with like 3 other guys from like, all the top Italian clubs.
I'm going 1-1 through regulation, 2-1 Belgium.
Wow. That'd be the more fun outcome, but
Yawn goes super yawn on them.
If Belgium wins with Jan or Toby getting like a header goal in extra time, what's the talking Tottenham reaction?
Hammer thrusts. We're
hammer
videotaping
all
me
day,
doing a hammer
sponsored by
thrust.
Hugo Boss.
Sponsored by
Then
Hugo
we pour
Boss,
high news
baby.
all over ourselves.
Yep. High Nunos. Cheers.
Hi, Nuno.
All right, and then we move on to Saturday, which I am very much looking forward to here. You got Czech Republic and Denmark, the darling of the tournament, Denmark. Christian Eriksen recovering, the team rallying behind the Viking soldier, demigod known as Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Who do you got in that one, buddy?
Crazy how they were the Cinderella, and then now suddenly they're favored to go to the semis. Like, that probably wasn't expected. So
not at all.
One of those 2 teams will be there. I kind of like Czech Republic, but I'm going to go Denmark Bucks.
I'm going Czech Republic. Going Czech Republic.
They just got
3-1.
They got a great midfield.
Great midfield. 3-1.
These West Ham players props. It's ridiculous. I can't handle it.
I got Czech at 3-1. Then Ukraine, England. What do you got?
Our boy Højbjerg better outplay Souček. Can we just say I'll be closely watching that matchup? Got to come out on top there, Bucks.
It's gonna be mano y mano there.
It's gonna be just a war,
an absolute war for attrition.
They should both attrition. Be well. They have different captain, but for Denmark, but I want them to like meet at midfield and just immediately start arm wrestling.
That's fair. Ukraine, England.
This should be an easy win for England. The only thing in the way is England likes to set up very defensively, which is fine. And that takes care of business. They don't allow goals. They get the goal or 2 they need, and they advance. It's just, you saw it against Scotland. It's like, I'd rather have more up-tempo, more possession against the team that I know we are just far superior than. That's not the way they play, which is fine. If they just pragmatically Jose Mourinho their way through the field and it works, it works. But I would be a little worried if I was an England fan. Suddenly it's like 0-0 and we're going in like the 70th minute and you're thinking like, all right, we got to score here. Like, I don't want to get the extra time. I don't want to be a set piece away or a mistake away by Stones or Sterling like we saw last game that didn't cost them, or Maguire or one of the fullbacks. So still think England should win comfortably, Bucks, but their style of play sometimes gives you that little bit of doubt.
I got 2-0 England. It's coming home. How about Harry Kane getting off the schneid there?
Loved it. It was a nice think header, don't you think?
Slick ass header. It's a classic.
Yeah, he
Harry
pulled his head back a little bit. He still seems like he's going a little slower. I don't get it. What do you think of the starting? Like, if ththey're playing a 3-5 or 3-4-3, you're gonna have Sterling with Kane, but like, who do you think should be the other player with Sterling and Kane?
Saka to start, just like last game.
So you think Saka to start to wear him out, then you bring in Grealish for the creativity?
Yep. So it worked perfectly against Germany.
You're out on Sancho altogether.
It's not that I'm out on Sancho. It's just I think Saka, for the way they employ him, works really well. He's a hard worker. He guns up the wing. He stretches the defense. And when you had Germany with the center backs that were a bit older, a bit slower, he really got the best of them. That allowed those chances for Grealish to exploit the open space. And that comes because he had just worn them down into this thin little piece of bristle.
Do you not think Phil Foden could do this?
Oh, I think Phil Foden could absolutely do it. But Saka, he earned his right to start.
I think playing one good game. I just think Phil Foden's
2 in
better,
a row.
And he'll
2
play.
in a row.
Saka didn't play great last game.
I didn't call it great. He did his job. He did his job.
I just think Foden, Sancho, like Saka, he had a couple good bursts the last knockout stage game or last group stage game, but I think just let's not get enamored with that. Like, just Phil Foden, Sterling, Sancho, Kane, Grealish, they're all better players. And you don't. So, when you're the far superior team, I would just start Grealish. Like, you're going to have possession. You're going to be in their zone. I'd rather have the more creative player there now. That's what I'd rather. I get it when it's like you're worried Jeremy's going to try to dominate possession with Cruz and Kimmich and all those guys, but I just think when you're just the far superior team going against this Ukrainian team, I think they will match up like them and try to mitigate the whole wing play that Ukraine does with their crossing the balls. But still, I would just go with Grealish if it was a 3-4-3. I guess we're stuck with Declan Rice. He just covers the back line better. He's undroppable, even though I feel like I wish he went more forward, Bucks. But I do feel like lost in all this is England's best player might be Mason Mount, and he just doesn't start. Like, apparently that's just not going to happen.
Mason Mount is not their best player.
Who's their best player right now? Sterling?
Right now, Sterling, and you need to apologize to him.
No, I don't. Sterling, you've converted your chances. Kane would have knocked that one in too. Sterling's been a very good player this tournament, but let's not. He just scored his first 3 goals for ever in tournament play for England. Sterling's been good. He's not being dropped. I get it. I'm just saying it's crazy that Mason Mount doesn't start on the team.
I just wanted on record that before the Euros started, I went to bat for Raheem Sterling. Shakes tried to take him down and say that he has no right to start with all this firepower.
I'm wrong. I'm eating my words there, man. England doesn't score at all. He scores their only goals.
You refuse to apologize. I'm asking you to apologize to Raheem
apologize
Sterling.
For being as harsh as I was, Raheem. With that said, I apologize. You're right. I'll just start there.
It's not your fault, man. It's not your fault. Anyways, folks, we will go ahead and wrap. Thank you all for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter at TTPodCoys and on YouTube at Talking Tottenham Pod. Been a joy as always, Danny Shakes. We have a manager. Let's see what we get through the transfer market. It'll be a riveting roller coaster. We'll be back early next week, not a late week episode, because there's going to be tons to talk about here as we move forward, and we'll pack it in as best as we can for y'all. Danny Shakes, sign the people off.
Let's go. Let's watch the end of these Euros. Let's transfer out and in some players. And hi, Nuno's, baby. Come on, you Spurs.
Shout out to Danny Shakes, Jordan Flu Game. Shout out to Tank. What an absolute beast. Beautiful, baby. Shakes, what a performance by you, man. I'm just taken aback by your perseverance there, your adjustments on the fly. That's what we need from Nuno. If something ain't working, if you got a problem, you got to fix the problem, but you got to stay the course. You just did that. Coys, get it done. It's Nuno time. High Nuno time.